What's up, my fellow presidents? This is Jasper from Amsterdam Vintage Watches, and today we're going to talk about the things that you need to know before buying a vintage day-date. Last year, 2017 alone, we sold 51 day-dates. That's nearly a day-date per week. A lot of investors, a lot of collectors, and a lot of people that just love the watch for pleasure bought one. But what are the most important things you have to look to when buying a day-date yourself? Starting off with the watch I'm wearing myself, and of course this wouldn't come as a surprise, I'm wearing a day-date myself, and it's the most favorable reference to me. It's reference 1803, and it's in pristine condition. I don't say it often, but this one indeed is unpolished, mint piece, and it's also for sale. It's on our website, so make sure you have a look. We divided it into different pointers, starting off with pointer number 1, references. The most well-known reference series is the 1800 series from Rolex that they introduced in the 60s. Very common about these watches is they have the plexiglass and also the pie pen dials. Beautiful pieces, and they're all equipped with an automatic movement featuring both the day as well as the date function. The last 2 digits of the reference is linked to the finish, or also called the decoration, and we're talking about bark finish, a fluted bezel, moire finish, Florentine finish. Those are kind of the possibilities. Furthermore, in 1978 Rolex introduced the sapphire crystal as well as the quick set for the day and date function. If we have a double quick set, the third number of the reference is a 2. For a single quick set, the third number of the reference is a 0. The last number of the 5-digit references stands for the material used for both the case as well as the bracelet. Bringing us to the next subject, pointer number 2, precious metals. The Rolex Day-Date is the very essence of luxury timepieces, only being made in precious metals. We're talking about rose, yellow and white gold, and furthermore we've got the platinum. It's also a possibility later on in the 80s to have all these material combined in a model that's named Tridor. Small side note, there are beliefs they started off the production with some prototypes, 5 to be exact, made in steel. Very rare. Coming to pointer number 3, bracelets. Something very important is the President bracelet that was made especially for the day-date models. This 3-piece link bracelet has a wide fan base. Everybody across the world loves this bracelet, and in 1972 Rolex upgraded the bracelet, bringing a concealed clasp. The concealed clasp is really a piece of jewelry. Unfortunately, they're not stamped with the date, so it's hard to determine if the exact bracelet was delivered on that watch. The earlier ones with the regular folding clasp do have the date stamped in, so it's easier to determine. However, what a lot of people don't know, it's also a possibility to have the day dates delivered on different kind of bracelets. We're talking about the Jubilee and also the riveted, as well as the solid gold oyster bracelets were a possibility for the day dates. Way more rare, but it's also possible to have a brick bracelet. Pointer number 4, the condition. Starting off again with the bracelets where we left off. It's easy to determine if the bracelets have a lot of stretch, and if the bracelet has been polished a lot, you can see the edges really rounded off instead of the sharp edges. Go for quality and pay attention while doing so. The same goes for the watch itself. Gold is slightly softer than steel, so you shouldn't be scared away. It's not a deal breaker if the watch is slightly polished or whatever, or has some rounded edges, but never go for an over polished piece. On the ones with the fluted bezel or a different kind of finish on both the bracelet as well as the bezel or the case, it's a real giveaway if the edging of the decoration isn't sharp anymore. Then leave the watch alone. It's very important to have a nice condition watch, and to check the movement, it's nice to give it a little turn and see if both the day as well as the date flips directly at the 12 o'clock position. Pointer number 5 is the dial. The classic combination is the one with the champagne dial, but the price can really be influenced buy the dial, especially if it has some of the following interesting special dials. Starting off with the wood dial, coming in different variations, different colors as well as different materials, influencing the price slightly higher. A premium of 1,000 or 2,000 euros is paid for the wood dials with the 5-digit references. Furthermore, for the 5-digit references, Rolex had a special request for stone dials, actually carved from hard stones. Very rare. We know variations like the lapis lazuli. More common is the onyx one. We've got the grossular, we've got the fossil, meteorite, ferrite, coral and opal, malachite of course, just to name a few, and this can really put an extra zero, maybe even to the price. Last but not least, very interesting, are the Stella dials, made for both the 4 as well as the 5-digit references. These are known to reflect the light in a certain fashion, very hard reflection of the light, therefore the nickname Stella, which is like, it shines like a star. The reason why is because the finish of the dial is from an enamel kind of lacquer, making it very interesting to see the dial. It's very uncommon, and back in the days it wasn't very popular to buy one of the most valuable watches in the world and give it a crazy color. Therefore now it's super rare, it's very desirable, and making the price go fucking sky high. Okay, so we know a lot of different dial configurations, different dial colors, different markers, different handsets, but all come to pointer number 6, it's the size. A day date is 36 millimeters. Since the introduction in 1956 up until recently, when Rolex introduced a day date 41 millimeter, got discontinued pretty shortly after the bringing of the watch. But now it's possible to buy the watch in a 40 millimeter case size. We prefer the traditional size 36 millimeters. So all of the above 6 points will determine point number 7, and that's the price. Furthermore, it's interesting to look at it from an investment point of view. I think it's gonna go really quick in the price evolution of the day dates. Why? It's one of the very few models that didn't rise as fast. The sportier counterparts from Rolex are going crazy, and we're only waiting for the day date to increase in value. The day date carries an important and well appreciated history, and it comes in so many varieties, so it's interesting for collectors, so it won't take long. Make sure you grab a day date while you still can, because these prices won't last for long. So we just talked about the price of the day dates, and I think it's utterly crazy that you have to pay a 30k for a new day date, but when you buy one in very nice vintage condition with a good bracelet, it's only 10k starting price. If you buy the bracelet new, you have to pay over 10k. In my opinion, that's crazy, and therefore I think it's a really interesting investment piece, especially the ones with the crazy dial configurations or the Stella stone dials. Those are dope. Furthermore, nice finish on the bracelet as well as the bezel can be very interesting and also very rare collectible stuff. So my tip is pick yourself up a nice day date while you still can, because the best day to buy a vintage watch is today.